Girish Karnad. Girish Karnad happens to be an important Indian playwright, and his contribution to Indian drama, modern contemporary Indian drama, is immense. He has written wonderful plays, and they are studied and they are staged with fervor, with lots of fervor. People enjoy them, and they're very interesting. Girish Karnad was born in 1938, and recently, 2019, he died. He was a playwright, he was a director, he was an actor. It is as a playwright that he is best remembered. And he studied at Karnataka University. He's also studied at Magdalen College, Oxford. And the combination of his subjects was interesting. In graduation, he had statistics and mathematics, and then in post graduation he had philosophy. So he did his post graduation from a college at Oxford. And 1960s saw the rise of Indian drama in a big way. We have Badal Sarkar in Bengali, and we have Dharmveer Veer Bharti, Dharma Veer Bharti, and Mohan Rakesh in Hindi, and Girish Karnad in Kannada. He translated his plays into English himself. So they are also considered original. The English version is also considered original. And he received the highest literary award, Gyanpith, in 1998. And that movement was called Navya literary movement. Girish Karnad combines history, mythology, philosophy, psychology with contemporary issues. So that is his speciality, and he was highly respected among literary circles, among intellectual circles. He received Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, and he received Filmfare Award for his screenwriting. He a very, very celebrated life, very successful as a person. It's very good that he was that his talent was recognized in his own lifetime. He was born in Matheran near Mumbai, Bombay of those times, and his mother was a widow with a son, and she was actually a maid. She was a cook, and she cooked at the house of Dr. Raghunath Karnad. His first wife was bedridden, totally bedridden, and she worked as a cook there, and after 5 years, both of them decided to marry, both of them decided to raise a family. So it was, I think, 1945. It was a highly controversial, and Girish Karnad never hid anything. Of course, there is nothing to hide there. Dignity of labor, the way the lady carried, and the lady she raised her children, and this is how it was. I mean, this is the story of his parents' marriage, and Girish was the third child, and his initial education was in Marathi, and mother tongue was Kannada, so Marathi and Kannada both. And he was drawn towards Natak Mandalis in a big way, even as a child. And when he was 14, they moved to Dharwad, Karnataka. And there his studies continued. After his stint, when he returned from abroad, he joined the Madras theatre, the Madras Players. That's the name of the theatre group. And during 1987-88, he was the resident Fulbright playwright at the University of Chicago. Highly respected, and he was FTII director, he was chairman of Sangeet Natak Academy, and Nagamandala, the play I want to talk about, was world premiered at Minneapolis. So highly respected and celebrated, as I said. And Girish Karnad was deeply influenced by Mahabharat, the text of Mahabharat, Rajaji's Mahabharat, C. Rajagopalachari, and Yayati, his first creation comes directly from a story from Mahabharata. Yayati is an ancestor of the Pandavas, and because he was adulterous, Shukracharya, the guru, he cursed him and he lost his youth. And then he sacrificed the youth of one of his sons to regain his youth. So the existential dilemma of age. Nobody wants to age. Although all of us know that we will age, we will die, still this is eternal. The desire to remain young. इस पर है, बहुत ही अच्छा प्ले है. Then we have Tughlaq. Tughlaq, as we all know, was a historical figure. The whimsical king of Sultan of Delhi, and he has been connected to contemporary politics of that time. So he has connected that in this play. Then we have Havadan. Havadan is again folklore, folk theatre, deeply influenced. He was deeply influenced by Yakshagan, the folk theatre that he witnessed during his childhood. He was deeply influenced by that. So half horse, half man. This is one theme which will run through all his work. I think it's a major theme: man, animal. Man animal part, the animal part of man, the man part of animal, and in man woman relationship how animal part plays its part. So this is a recurring theme in Girish Karnad. And the theme of Havadan, of course, the conflict within a woman's mind, whether she should go on the path of mind or she should go on the path of body. The eternal fight within a woman's mind. That is Havadan. The original story comes from Katha Sarit Saga. Actually, it was Thomas Mann's novella. ऐसा ही होता है, ऐसा ही होता है. हमको हमारे कल्चर के बारे में वेस्ट से पता चलता है. हमारे साथ भी हुआ, सबके साथ ऐसा होता है और ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. इट्स सो आयरॉनिकल दैट वी कम टू नो ऑफ आवर कल्चर थ्रू अ वेस्टर्न टेक्स्ट. सो इट वाज थॉमस Mann's novella, the transposed heads that he read and came to know of this story, Havadan, and then he came to know that it is from Katha Sarit Sagar, and he read and then he created this. Then 1988 we have Nagamandala. Nagamandala, personally I feel that it is the best play of Girish Karnad. It comes from Kannada folk tales. Two folk tales have been merged together here, and Western dramaturgy and Indian art has been beautifully fused and infused, and a wonderful tapestry has been woven here in Nagamandala. The prologue is very important. The play is highly layered. There are many meanings, many layers of meaning in this play. In prologue, you see, there is a forlorn temple, and it's broken, and moonlight is filtering inside. So it's a scary, nightmarish dream kind of a situation, and those flames start talking. They are women. They want to tell their story. They gossip all along, tell gossip, not in the negative sense. They express their heart's desire. You see, in the domestic setup, in the traditional setup, women have to express themselves. So how they express themselves, how they vent out their feelings. This was this scene symbolizes that, and suddenly a young woman comes and says that there was a fight between a man and a woman. The woman could not speak about it. The story remained within her, suppressed. In the afternoon, she was sleeping. Her mouth was a little open, and the story gaped out, came out of her. So I am that story. I am that story. And the song has become her sari. So a beautiful woman in a sari, she starts telling this story. It is very symbolical of the suppressed desires of women and how they need to express themselves, and they must express themselves. So the play has a story now. The story begins. Rani is a young married woman. Parents usually name their daughter as Rani. It's a very common name. Rani, she will be like queen, Raj karegi. With that feeling, they name their daughter as Rani. So she's Rani. And her husband is Apanna. Apanna again is a very common Kannada name. It symbolizes majority of men, you can say. So Rani, once she's married, she comes to her husband's house and she is not treated well. He neglects her. He does not talk to her, does not love her, and she's very unhappy. So he is attracted towards some other woman. He comes only in the afternoon for food, and then he goes away. She tells him that she's not happy, she's very scared during nights, and she has nobody to talk to, and he does not pay any attention to her words. You see, very, very meaningful. In the patriarchal setup, the very existence of a woman depends on the will of the man. उसके पास जिंदगी जीने का और जरिया ही नहीं कोई. Only her husband's goodwill and his उसकी नज़र पर ही सब कुछ निर्भर करता है. That it's very, very loaded with meaning. So Rani is very unhappy. Then we have this lady Kurudwa, her mother's friend. Again, a very prophetic kind of a figure. She's blind and old, and she comes to her help. Her son is very dutiful to her. He brings her to Rani, and Rani tells her everything, all her problems. Then she gives Rani, वो फिर वही folk और Indianness comes in a big way, the soil and the belief of the people. And she gives Rani a herb. जड़ी बूटी देती है. She gives Rani a herb and she says that give this to your husband, cook it and give it to your husband in food, and he will become favorable towards you. He will start loving you. तो ऐसा ऐसे करके वो उसको जड़ी बूटी देती है. शी प्रिपेयर्स करी एंड इट टर्न्स ब्लड रेड एंड इट स्पिल्स ओवर. गिर जाती है वो सब्जी. करी स्पिल्स ओवर एंड अ नाग ड्रिंक्स इट. King Cobra drinks that curry and he falls in love with Rani. And in the night, he comes to Rani in the form of her husband and loves her. Night after night, he takes the form of her husband and comes to her and loves her. For the first time in life, Rani is loved. Rani is cared. All her desires, thirst for love and affection is quenched for the first time. It's beautifully portrayed here, very touching. And then she gets pregnant. Rani gets pregnant. And Aparna says that he has never come near Rani, so how she's pregnant, and she is held responsible. The village panchayat is called, the elders of the village, and they They say it is the tradition of that village that the lady has to speak keeping her hand on the hood of a cobra. So there is no problem for Rani. Cobra comes, Nagraj comes, her husband, and she places the hand lovingly and says that I have not touched anybody other than my husband. And from there she becomes a goddess and she is revered like anything. और ऐसा मज़ेदार वो पूरा turn हो जाता है. She becomes she is revered and she said no, she is innocent, and husband is baffled and he is not satisfied. Apanna, he spies on her during night. He sees that the snake has come and taken the form. So now he knows what it is. And then there is a furious fight between the two. Nag is traditionally held to be a symbol of manhood, virility, masculinity. So there is a fight between the two. And then there are two endings to this play. Nag is killed and Apanna accepts Rani and takes her as a goddess, and she says that her child will perform the rituals of that Nag, and this is one ending. The second ending is that the snake goes into the tresses of Rani, into her thick hairs, and stays there eternally as a symbol of desire. He remains there as a symbol of desire, as a symbol of their union. So there are two ends. It's an open-ended, postmodernist ending, you can say. And this is how the play ends. So it works at several levels. It talks about taboo topics. It talks about women's sexuality. It talks about suppression versus expression. It talks about patriarchy, the wrong points of patriarchy. It tells that nobody should be stopped from asking questions, and how traditional societies had all the systems of expression. Today, when one Harvard study tells us that those who gossip together and talk a lot and those who have express themselves live longer and happier, we believe. Otherwise, in our own systems, all these things already existed. I mean, people say, "अरे औरतें हैं ऐसे बात करते हैं." Those who are within the four walls, what other means do they have to express themselves? And expression is essential. Repression, either verbal or of sexual desires, erotic desires, emotional desires, psychological desires, social needs, suppression is not good. It's not done. It does not work. It never works. तो ये कई लेवल पर ये स्टोरी चलती है. पेट्रियार्की, एस्टैब्लिश्ड अथॉरिटी, इंडिविजुअल विल, फेमिनाइन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, फेमिनाइन नीड्स. There is no othering. There is no othering. Kurudwa belongs to other caste, and of course Nag is an animal. So जिसको बहुत अदरिंग करे, ये तो दूसरा है, ये पराया है, वो ये प्ले नहीं समझ पाएगा. उसको ये प्ले समझ में आएगा नहीं. तो इस तरह से है. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. एवरीबडी शुड रीड इट. Everybody should read it and enjoy it. It is to be watched. It is to be experienced. So that is how it is. Nagamandala by Girish Karnad. Please do see this. Please do read it.